So, I bought this microphone maybe, I don't know, a year ago. And I bought it specifically to use for podcasting. And that never really went anywhere. So here I am using it for videos. Anyway, how's it going? You having a good evening wherever you're at? I hope you are. So it is Thursday, September the 14th, approximately 9:03 p.m. And I wanted to do a quick video on somewhat of an update for where I've been at in the past 3 to 4 years-ish, roughly. And I want to talk about one costume in particular that I built back in 2021. That's when I built it. And I'm going to put pictures right here, right next to me, or Matt, so you know what I'm talking about. So there was an event. I made a Predator costume, more or less. That's what it is. From the movie Predator from the 1980s with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the sequel that came out. I think it came out in the 90s. I can't remember exactly, but starring Danny Glover and Bill Paxton. I had some friends of mine back in 2021. I was in a pretty rough spot in my life. And, well, they were trying to get me out of the rut, so to speak. And one of them invited me along to this event that they got invited to be role players at. And it was called Revelations. And a brief synopsis of what that is. Revelations is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game for airsoft, specifically. Airsoft guns, where you have the little plastic guns and you go pew-pew with the plastic BBs. It's actually quite a fun hobby. And it was centered out in Chesapeake, Virginia. It was put on by a company called Ballahack Airsoft. You can go look it up, go over to their YouTube channel. I'm sure you can find lots of cool content. Look for Revelations 11. I think that's what it's called, and you'll see the hunters. And it was me and 3 other guys. Really, what I should say, it was 3 other guys and me, because I just randomly got invited along. And so, anyway, we got invited along to make these costumes, just to be as guest role players, and it was a lot of fun. We just ran around and fulfilled the objective of the game, and it was fun. We went home. We had some stories to tell. We left with some pretty cool swag. People were just giving us stuff away, and all in all, if the opportunity presented itself again, and I got invited back, then I would go back 100%. And just lend my skills to the fray, if you will. So there's not really a whole lot that I want to talk or I can talk about with this costume. I put it together. It needs a few updates, a few upgrades, and I guess I can go over that as best I can. So if you pay attention to the original Predators from the movies, they have this weird netting thing over their skin. That's something that I'd like to get eventually for the suit. I'd also like to update the legs and the feet and the waist armor that goes around the side. Those were very last minute. The bulk of my time went into the chest and the actual med kit that sits on the back. And there's a speaker that sits inside the med kit. And what I'll do is I'll play a random YouTube video on my cell phone that actually fits inside of one of the wrist guards. And so I can flip it open and mess with my phone too, right there. So what I'll do is I'll find some sound effects on YouTube and I'll just play them on the speaker. And it's really loud too. It's a nice little speaker. This is it right here, actually. It's a little, that's the speaker I used for it. And all in all, super budget-friendly build. I've made all the patterns myself. The helmet, it's the mask. There's no alien face underneath of that. It's just a straight foam sculpted mask. I made the pattern off of an actual head, Predator head, a Predator bust that a friend of mine had, and I just went from there. I used tin foil and masking tape and a Sharpie, and it was fun, I'd never done it before. It was very challenging. I didn't know if it was going to turn out right. I was testing all these techniques that I hadn't used in years. And all in all, it came out to be a very good build. One major change that I would like to make to it, though, is putting an actual visor inside the helmet. If you pay attention closely, you'll see that you can see my normal eyes through it. That's because when we were at the Airsoft event, one of the main focuses of that event was eye protection, right? You could not get onto the field without eye protection, which is something I absolutely appreciate, and it never occurred to me for that. And so that's one of the reasons why it doesn't have an actual visor inside. I had to have room to put safety goggles on underneath of it, and it just slides on. It's very simple. What I'd like to make some props to go along with it as well, like a spear or maybe a laser disc, or something like that they use in the movies. I'd like to update the shoulder-mounted cannon as well, because that bounces a lot when I'm walking, and it looks good for photos, but I feel like I can do a better job. That cannon was also just like slapped together with some insulation, like the foam insulation tubing that you put on like steel pipes, that sort of thing. And I just kit bashed. I slapped some scrap foam and other little model car bits and things like that on there. All in all, this build was a lot of fun. I made a lot of memories with people, and it got me out of my rut for a time. It really did. And for what it's worth, when I look back on that particular event, Revelations 11, I walk away with some good memories. It was well received. The guy who invited us, he was excited. He was excited enough to invite us back for another time, and I'll get to that in my next video. And so all in all, that's just one of the projects that I've worked on in the past 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, since I've been on hiatus. I won't talk about 2019 because 2019 was a year that I didn't do a whole lot of convention going. I actually, that's when I got really heavy into therapy for my own personal life. And then back in 2020 is when I tried to get my feet wet, so to speak, on the convention scene. But then, the madness that was 2020 with the whole COVID thing and every all that, just everything shut down. And then that's kind of why, I didn't go anywhere with that. But all in all, I had a lot of fun, and I hope to make more memories. Maybe I'll go back there not as a role player, but as just a player in the game. I'll buy a ticket, I'll play, I'll get some airsoft guns. It'll be a lot of fun, So I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here and try to enjoy my evening. And I want to leave you guys with some words of encouragement that, being somebody who has made more than his own fair share of mistakes, it's okay to make them. It's okay to make mistakes because that's how we learn as individuals. You can, nobody knows any more than the next person, right? And what I mean by that is we're all learning as we go, and that's the magic of life, is that, excuse me, that's the magic of life, is that, you're always growing, you're always evolving, you're always changing in different ways. And sometimes you got to hit a roadblock. Sometimes you got to hit a spot where the main obstacle is yourself. And once you can learn to, I don't want to say overcome, I will say once you learn how to properly integrate those roadblocks into your being, then that's when you can start to make progress in the world. So, so I hope you guys have a great night wherever you're at. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. Tell me what you think. You know, and I'll be back later on. So have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week.